Hello, my name is Connor Quinlan, and I'm going to be doing a quick overlook of the Nikon D5100 digital SLR. Now this won't be a full review because I will be renting the camera out when it becomes available later and do a full review on it, but this will be a quick look at some of the features as well as the image quality of the Nikon D5100. Now the first thing I want to start out with is the image quality of the camera. Now, since it has actually a very similar sensor to the Nikon D7000 camera, a 16.2 megapixel sensor, it also has the same ISO capabilities of the Nikon D7000, which means that image quality is the same or actually maybe even slightly superior than the Nikon D7000 is right now. Just to be safe, I would probably say that they're the same, but one thing is for sure is that the D5100 now definitely has the high ISO capability of the Nikon D7000 that no other camera had before, which means that it can easily compete with the Nikon D300 or even the Nikon D300S as well in terms of image quality. Now, other than image quality, the D5100 also incorporates HD video as well, a better HD video than the previous Nikon D5000 camera. It can shoot at 1080p, 30, 25, or 24 frames per second. It can also shoot at 720p at the same frame rates as well. So that's a definite improvement for those of you who want a video camera and a photography camera in one body. It's definitely a lot better than that of the D5000 camera, which could only shoot at 720p. Another really cool feature that the D5100 now incorporates that beginner Nikon models didn't before is 14-bit RAW. That means that you can take really high dynamic range photos of the best quality that you can get. So for those of you who want amazing RAW capability with a lot of dynamic range, the D5100 can now do that. It actually has that feature. So other than that, the D5100 is also quite a bit smaller than the original D5000, which is really interesting. Now that could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on who you are and how large your hands are and stuff like that. If you have larger hands, that could probably be a bad thing. For those of you who want the smallest size though and smallest weight, the D5100 is actually shaping up to be similar in size and weight to the Nikon D3100, which is really interesting. Now for the last part of the review, I'm just going to give a quick recommendation for the Nikon D5100. Now, I'm not going to compare it to the D7000 yet. I will be doing that in a separate review later with the Nikon D5100 versus the Nikon D7000. I'm just going to talk in general what kind of who this camera really is for. Now, this camera can pretty much please anybody out there who's into still life or landscape photography, even portrait photography as well. The ISO image quality is really, really good with this camera, and for the price, you're getting the best bang for your buck there. Now, for those of you who shoot sports or more speedy things such as wildlife and sports, then the D5100 could probably do a decent job, but looking at maybe something like the D7000 would be a little better considering it has a bit more speed. So for those of you who are beginners, just starting out, want your first digital SLR, the D5100 is definitely a camera to consider. The only other competing model with the D7000 or D5100 other than the D7000 is easily the Nikon D3100, which is a model below it. And actually, in terms of that, if you can and you have the money, I would definitely recommend just going straight for the Nikon D5100 because the image quality of this camera matches that of the D7000, and that's quite a bit better, especially if you shoot low light photography. And this is a quick look at the D5100 digital SLR camera.